Good morning, Hope Unitarian Church. How's everyone doing this morning?
Full of breakfast.
That's fine. That's good. I'd like to welcome you to Hope Unitarian Church. It's great to see you this morning. I'm the Reverend Justin McCreary and excited that you're here with us this morning. If you've never been to a Unitarian service, you might notice a few differences. The fact is, we're covenantal, we're not creedal, and we take that to the point even to concepts around the belief in God. It's not necessary for you to believe in God to be here. We allow people to think theologically any way they would like. There are plenty of people in this service who have a deep theological inclination toward a deity somewhere, and there are some who don't. And that's okay, because as Unitarian Universalists, what we work on is our ability to be together in community regardless of our theological differences. So we come together as a covenantal group that decides how we're going to be together, not necessarily what we believe together. Love is the power that holds us all together and is at the center of our shared values. Being rooted in love, we believe that all human beings should be treated with dignity and respect. And at Hope, we seek to transform ourselves in the world through community, service, and love. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are in your spiritual journey, and whatever your life circumstances, you are welcome here. At this time, I would invite you to rise, embody your spirit as you feel called, and sing our hymn of gathering. This month, we're using a chalice lighting focused on pride. So since it is June. So this chalice lighting was written by Lori Gorgas Laban, and let's say it together. We light our chalice flame for those who live their lives in closets of shame, for those who furtively visited the bars where nobody knew your name, for the Stonewall riot and the fierce trans women who fought. We light our chalice flame for all these and for all the siblings of the rainbow, surviving, living life out in the open with pride. You may be seated. At this time, I would invite you to say I'm going to say the invocation. Our invocation is a prayer for Juneteenth by Ade Amakuraba. Creator of all, as believers in justice woven into a single garment of life, making us one with the human family, let us rejoice for those who safely passed through the shades of the night toward the daylight of freedom. Spirit of all possibilities, may we be blessed with true freedom, free of all oppressors. Spirit of hope, with grateful hearts, we lift up our voices in shared solidarity, holding each other safe in the fire of justice and the light of love. Amen, and blessed be. Let's say our covenant together. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. At this time, I would again invite you to rise and sing our first hymn, hymn number 149, Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Every voice
be seated.
Hello, my name's Anita Ward, and I'm here to make announcements. Let me turn the page. Our generosity recipient this month is the Jinx Community Food Bank, and there's a box in the fellowship hall where we hope you will bring food, canned goods, like pasta, mac and cheese, nothing fresh. And they need Reese's paper bags. They have really good handles, and that's what they give their food to the people that are coming to get food. Lunch Bunch is June the 17th at Napa Flats. Let Mary Baird know if you're coming, so she'll, have enough tables. And Napa Flats is very good if you've never been there before. Feed the Homeless is July the 18th. There's a sign up if you can help serve. Please sign up. And that's it for, what? Oh, I looked at July instead of June on my calendar. It's this next Saturday, this coming Saturday.
And no choir this week.
And there's not going to be a choir this week. Christy's taking a trip.
Today's meditation is called The Deep Well of Black Lives by Kristen L. Harper. On October 25th, 1619, the ship the White Lion arrived at Point Comfort, now known as Fort Monroe National Monument in Hampton, Virginia. The ship contained enslaved Africans. This is the first recorded arrival of Africans in America. In 2019, this anniversary was commemorated at Fort Monroe as a day of healing and reconciliation. The community was asked to ring bells at 3 o'clock for 4 minutes, signifying the 400 years that have passed since that historic moment. How do we mark that day, that hour, that minute the White Lion docked at a point that would be of no comfort to 20 enslaved Africans chained in her bowels, heralds of coming storms of millions, whose bodies would break through soil in rock to build an America that could never fully embrace its progenitors? How do we mark the day, the hour, that minute that foreshadowed the centuries of degradation, violence, of attempts to share the soul and the spirit from the deep well of Black lives? How do we mark that day, that hour, that minute, 400 years ago, when the first drop of African sweat commingled with the earth's warmth planting the seeds of a new culture, a new way of life, a new heartbeat into the fabric of the new world. When the roots of freedom sparked deep underground and spread from generation to generation, blossoming into resistance, or into resistance and resilience, so today we will imagine those bells of sorrow, bells of grief, and bells of atonement. We think about the ring out, we think of those ghosts of those lost middle passages, lost to the whips and deprivation, lost to the lynches and the bullets, lost to the prisons and the chains of racism. Today, we sing so that tomorrow we may be in freedom. Sing in liberation, sing in peace.
I love the person that wrote this. It's Amanda Gorman. It's called The Sacred Scene. We gather at this hallowed place because we believe in the American dream. We face a race that tests if this country we cherish shall perish from the earth, and if the earth shall perish from this country. It falls to us to ensure that we do not fall, for a people that cannot stand together cannot stand at all. We are one family, regardless of religion, class, or color. For what defines a patriot is not just our love of liberty, but our love for one another. This is loud in our country's call because while we all love freedom, it is love that frees us all. Empathy emancipates, making us greater than hate or vanity. That is the American promise, powerful and pure. Divided, we cannot endure, but united, we can endeavor to humanize our democracy and endear democracy to humanity. And make no mistakes, cohering is the hardest task history ever wrote. But tomorrow is not written by our odds of hardship, but by the audacity of our hope, by the vitality of our vote. Only now, approaching this rare air, are we aware that perhaps the American dream is no dream at all, but instead a dare to dream together. Like a million roots tethered, branching up humbly, making one tree, this is our country. From many won, from battles won, our freedoms sung, our kingdom come has just begun. We redeem this sacred scene ready for our journey. From it together, we must birth this early republic and achieve an unearthly summit. Let us not just believe in the American dream, let us be worthy of it.
I have a dream for all humanity, that we may know truth and dignity, that peace on earth becomes reality, and that one day we'll stand arm in arm hand in hand. Yes, I have a dream. A dream for all the people in the world, that peace, hope, and freedom shall reign. Yes, I have a dream. I have a dream for all mankind, that we may come to a place in time when we shall know that peace of mind that comes when we share, when we learn how to care. Yes, I have a dream for all the people in the world, that peace, hope, and freedom shall reign. Yes, I have a dream. I dream that all nations shall celebrate, that every trace of fear will be gone, that we will join our voices in unity and sing freedom song. I have a dream for everyone, that hope will shine like the morning star, with the day that has just begun. We may come to embrace the entire human race. Yes, I have a dream for all the people of the world, that peace, hope, and freedom shall reign. Yes, I have a dream. Yes, I have a dream.
Quick announcement that I didn't get a chance to get in the highlights that I forgot to tell Anita about is that Friday is Juneteenth. And as I reached out to Rebecca this past week, we have updated our employee handbook to acknowledge that Friday the office will be closed in celebration of Juneteenth. So our office will be closed that day. And we did point out that there is an election on Tuesday. Did I hear that? Have I not heard it? Did we point that out? Huh? Yeah, there is an election Tuesday, and as UUs, we love democracy.
Go vote.
So go vote. And there is a state question on the ballot that would raise minimum wage over the next few years to $15, which sounds like a great idea to me, but what do I know?
I don't know,
All right. So for many of us, Juneteenth is one of the newest. It is the newest holiday that we have in the United States, in our coterie of celebrations. But for other Americans, it predates and takes precedence over many of our American holidays, even Independence Day. In fact, it, by some, is seen as the second Independence Day, and for many who were not free on July 4th, 1776, it makes more sense than Independence Day. There is an inherent irony in being asked to celebrate the independence of one's oppressors while still being bound to them as property like cattle. It is irony indeed that the freedom so jubilantly celebrated by many was withheld to others through the force of a whip based on the color of one's skin. Thomas Jefferson, whom Unitarian Universalists love to claim as one of our forebears, spoke of the institution of slavery as a moral depravity or a hideous blot against the American dream of personal liberty, whilst keeping more than 600 men, women, and children in chains. Over his lifetime, manumitting, which means setting free, only 10, a majority of those his children born through a statutory relationship with a slave named Sally Hemings. It was due to democracy itself that Jefferson would not mandate that all truly means all. Because like taxation, morality often required representation. The freedom of American slaves would require the votes of the very men whose fortunes depended on the free labor. The excuse was that slavery could not be simply abolished through writ due to the very freedom it declared. It was not legal to free slaves. It had to be voted on. Slavery was protected because of the state's authority and was more important than the individual will of the human beings being enslaved. The institution of slavery was so enmeshed with the whole of the American system, not just the South, where chattel slavery was legal, but also by Northern interests that traded goods with the South, the banks that funded the South. The enmeshment was so inherent that white men would fight to the death to defend it. There is no doubt that the Southern states seceded from this union in defense of slavery, regardless of what anyone tells you. Take this line from the Mississippi Ordinance of Succession, the official documents that Mississippi presented as their reasoning for succession. It says this: our position is thoroughly identified with the institution of slavery, the greatest material interest of this world. Its labor supplies the product which constitutes by far the largest and most important portions of commerce of the earth. And it wasn't just Mississippi, which at the time had the largest GDP in the United States. Statements like this appear through all articles delivered by the Southern states, or through most articles delivered by the Southern states, and were enshrined in the Confederacy's Constitution. And though they will mention some perceived mandate from God, the true reason they defended this institution, that they went to war over, that they continued to treat humans like cattle over, is due to the phrase, important commerce. Yes, the argument of the richest state in the Union was that they would not be able to compete on a national and global scale if they had to treat their workers like human beings. I often hear the same thing in whether or not we should pay employees a living wage. How can we compete if we treat our workers like human beings? They will go on to say that a blow to slavery is a blow at commerce and civilization. But then years later, a legal workaround would come into play. When the southern states rose up as they did, Abraham Lincoln was legally and with support able to issue on January 1st in 1863 the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing all slaves in states that were engaged in hostilities with the rest of the Union. But remember, Lincoln was no abolitionist. Though morally he was anti-slavery, prior to the Civil War, Lincoln prioritized preservation of the Union over individual freedom of all people, the Constitution over human dignity. It wasn't until those southern states rose up that he was able to, using a legal loophole, sow chaos in the southern states by declaring emancipation. And I suspect we all know these things, and this historical rundown is nothing more to anyone else than a fun little moralistic romp through our national baggage. But what I feel is important to focus on is the motivation in this retelling. There is seldom altruism in politics, even when one makes a demand for basic human rights. But that doesn't mean those steps are not progress. Maybe Lincoln saw a glitch that would give him the opportunity to do something grand that would change the face of our nation forever. And maybe he just wanted to destabilize the southern food supply. And maybe it's 6 of one half or 6 of one and half a dozen the other. Does it have to be altruistic to be helpful or to be good? What does it say that for almost the first 100 years of our nation's history, the politics of the time were centered on how to live were not centered in how to live out our American mission statement, which is, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with a certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That is the national mission statement. But instead, they focused on unity through concession on the backs of the American slaves, on the backs of hurting other immigrants, on the backs of various other immigrant nations that would come to the United States over time. But with American slaves, they went as far as declaring them 3/5 of this population that counted towards the state's population for representation. In the 3/5 thing, the irony of the 3/5 thing is that slave bodies counted towards the number of oppressors defending the institution over human beings in the House of Representatives and the elite in the Electoral College. And though I work very hard to be as accurate as I can be, it doesn't mean that I don't present this information with a general inclination through a moral lens. I'm not just presenting data. I'm interpreting with pretense through a modern pair of glasses, which I understand that some may argue isn't fair, to which I would respond, neither was the whip that cracked along the back of the black man's back. During that time, the first 100 years, the number of slaves in the United States grew from 700,000 in 1790 to nearly 4 million in 1860, and take into account that the transatlantic slave trade was shelved in around 1806 or something to that matter, which means that those last few years, those last many years, the slave trade was maintained through forced breeding and selling off family members. But the barrier to emancipation was that the wealthiest people in the United States were making a lot of money with slaves. So nothing changed. It wasn't until succession that the wealthy began to take a hit on their bottom line. I wonder if the Civil War had never happened, if American slaves would ever have had that peaceful transition into freedom that Thomas Jefferson so wanted, and that those almost 4 million people deserved. But what I learned from the history of Juneteenth celebrations is that Lincoln's motivation did not matter to those almost 4 million people. What mattered was the Emancipation Proclamation that would pave the way for the 13th Amendment. Because Juneteenth is not a story about some gift given by the ruling class. It is about the resilience of a people who would learn to bide their time. See, on the night before the Emancipation Proclamation was signed on December 31st, 1862, enslaved and free African Americans would gather in their churches and their homes and pray. They called it Freedom's Eve. And in some places it's still celebrated, but on January 1st, we would find in history, when we look back, would not initially become their Independence Day. Because while any person was still enslaved, they were not independent. Freedom meant that everyone, in something that the drafters of the Declaration of Independence did not understand, that while one suffers, all suffer. Until one is free, or until all are free, none are free. General Lee surrendered on April 9th, 1865. But that is also not the day that would become Independence Day. For the true emancipation did not come until June 19th, 1865, 900 days after the Emancipation Proclamation, and a few months after the end of the Civil War, when Union troops rolled into Galveston, Texas, and General Gordon Granger issued General Order Number 3 that all slaves were now free. During the years that immediately followed the Civil War, in Mississippi alone, 200 black men would hold public office, including 2 U.S. senators, a lieutenant governor, and a secretary of state. But we all know that the fight for freedom did not stop that day. Many of the Old South would lay in wait so that their oppression would emerge in the years to follow. It was in those years to follow that an incomplete Reconstruction would give way in 1877 to what the old Confederates would call a redemption, in what African American people would call Jim Crow. And Jim Crow would reach places in the United States that slavery could never touch. It can be overwhelming reading history as moments of forward motion followed by intense regression. Reverend William Barber would name these cycles of restoration and redemption in his book, The Third Reconstruction, placing the civil rights movement as the second Reconstruction. In the years up to the election of Barack Obama as our first black president, in the enshrinement of gay marriage, the third Reconstruction, which would be followed by periods of what some call redemption. Redemption would be the oppression that would rise back up after those reconstructions. Amanda Gorman, the poet who spoke so excitedly during the following the election of Joe Biden, would again speak as Kamala Harris would stand to follow in his footsteps. At the Democratic National Convention, she would say, "We gather in this hallowed place because we believe in the American dream. We face a race that tests if this country we cherish shall perish from the earth, and if our earth shall perish from this country." See, there's this feeling someone gets when you hear a prophet speak. Not that someone can tell the future, but someone who can see a path laid out before us while still offering us hope. Following the first and second elections of Donald Trump, I do believe there is a contingent of our country that would feel redeemed, though we may question their definition of redemption. In the same way that I would question if redemption is the appropriate designation for the years that followed our initial Reconstruction. Gorman goes on to say, it falls to us to ensure that we do not fall for a people that cannot stand together, cannot stand at all. We are one family, regardless of religion, class, or color. For what defines a patriot is not just our love of liberty, but our love for one another. This is loud in our country's call, because while we love freedom, it is love that frees us all. Empathy emancipates, making us greater than hate or vanity, that this American promise, powerful and pure. Divided we cannot endure, but united we can endeavor to humanize our democracy and endear democracy to humility or humanity. See, I believe Juneteenth teaches us something very special about the time we're living in. Juneteenth reminds us of resistance through resilience, when day after day, not the only true resistance a slave had was survival. We have more options before us today because the Juneteenth celebration is not framed in isolation. It has a precursor, watch night. Those nights when the enslaved people would gather together in their homes to watch and pray for the emancipation that was promised. And those prayers rise with the faith and hope that is only won through years of refusal to die at the hands of the enslaver. That is not to say none die, but to say more will survive, and they will carry the souls of their ancestors and friends with them into emancipation. Gorman goes on to say, and make no mistake, cohering is the hardest task history ever wrote, but tomorrow is not written by our odds of hardship, but by our audacity of our hope, but the vitality of our vote. Only now, approaching this rare air, are we aware that perhaps the American dream is no dream at all, but instead a dare to dream together. Like a million roots tethered, branching up humbly, making one tree, this is our country. She exhorts the community with strong words that call listeners to take action. She makes her penultimate call, saying, from many won, from battles won, from freedoms sung, our kingdom come has just begun. We redeemed this sacred scene, ready for our journey. From it together we must birth this early republic and achieve this unearthly scene. And it is true that this poem was written in support of a candidate who lost the election. But the reality is, this poem is not just about an election. It is about hope. It is about patriotism. It is about what it means to be an American. It is about what we are working towards and how we are working together. It is about the hope of not giving up and the resistance of refusing to die. Juneteenth is about the past and it is about the future. It is the reminder that emancipation comes if we're willing to do the work of watch night, if we're willing to build communities and come together. It is a reminder that not all wins are perfect and not all losses are total. I can't find a place where Amanda Gorman articulates regret for writing this poem, even though her candidate didn't win. What Gorman actually said was, when asked about politics, was that she plans on running for president in 2036. Because Juneteenth involves accepting the past and changing the future. It's not simply about the slaves that were freed in Galveston, Texas. It's about what those free people and their ancestry did and could do in the future. So this Juneteenth, I leave you with these final words from Amanda Gorman. Let us not just believe in the American dream. Let us be worthy of it. Thank you. Our generosity recipient for June is the Jenks Community Food Bank. Please make checks out to the Hope Unitarian Church and put generosity in the memo line. Checks with no notation will be applied to your pledge or to the operating fund. If you donate cash, that will go directly to the generosity recipient. And if you would like that cash to go towards your pledge, place it in an envelope provided. At this time, let's give for the future that we were promised, not the present that we have to trudge through. There's that song that we've got called When the Spirit Says Do, but then in my soul, I always hear the phrase, when the song says move. Let's say our offertory response. We build on foundations we did not lay. We warm ourselves at fires we did not light. We sit in the shade of trees we did not plant. We drink from wells we did not dig. We profit from persons we did not know. We are never bound in community. Let's sing our final hymn, which is, I'm sorry, my glasses are fogging up, which is hymn number 169, We Shall Overcome. I invite you to rise in body or spirit as you feel called.
We shall
Let's extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, warmth of community, or the fire of commitment.
These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
And this benediction might be a little different than usual. There is a difference, but there is a kinship between paying someone so little that they cannot afford their house or their food in slavery. They are different, but there is a kinship between the two. It leads to credit. It leads to credit being the new coal mine script from back in the days. As Unitarian Universalists, we are people who try to take the world by storm, even if we do it quietly. And one of the ways we do that is through our vote. So let's go forth and vote on Tuesday. So go in peace.
Amen.